From the headquarters of Telesur English in Quito, Ecuador, I'm Carla Gonzalez, and this is From the South. Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador has announced a 16% increase to the minimum wage. This is the highest increase in 25 years, and starting on January 1st, the minimum daily wage will rise from $4.4 to 5.1, and this is across the country. Additionally, an economic zone will be created on the border with the United States, where the minimum wage will be $8.7. This will try to tackle high turnover rates at businesses and help migrants seeking to enter the U.S. to stay in Mexico.
This is an increase of 16% of the base salary, so in real terms, it is around 12%.
After a joint effort lasting several years, we have managed to recover the value of the minimum wage so that people can improve their well-being.
A mother and her two daughters who were photographed being tear gassed by U.S. border security officials have begun their asylum request process. Lawyers have confirmed that in addition to the family, 8 unaccompanied minors are being processed for asylum. The system at the U.S. ports of entry limits the number of people that can claim asylum each day. This has led to months of waiting for migrants stranded in Mexico. A large fire broke out at a factory storage facility in the city of Toluca, Mexico. Large clouds of black smoke could be seen coming out of the warehouse. One person was hospitalized due to smoke inhalation. Roads were closed at the local airport and suspended all activities due to the fire. Authorities are still investigating the cause of the blaze. Candidates for the 2019 presidential elections in El Salvador held a debate on Sunday. Our correspondent Ernesto Avalo brings us more details.
The National University of El Salvador held the first face-to-face presidential debate for the elections, which are set for February 3rd. The FMLN candidate Hugo Martinez attended, as well as Carlos Calleja, the candidate for the Arena Party, and Josué Alvarado, the candidate for the Vamos Party. Absent at the debate is Nayib Bukele, who is aspiring for the presidency on behalf of Ghana, the New Ideas Party, and the Democratic Change Party. He didn't attend because he says he doesn't agree with the organizers from the National University. The debate touched on issues like the economy, education, human rights, and security. And with this debate organized by the university, the position of the parties and respective candidates who will be running in the upcoming elections have been made clearer.
Ernesto Ábalos from San Salvador. And Imelda Cortés, also in El Salvador, the woman who was charged with murder for allegedly attempting to have an abortion, has been freed after spending 20 months behind bars. Imelda says she never tried to have an abortion and that her daughter survived a difficult birth. Recently, her case took a turn when prosecutors changed the charge from homicide to abandonment and neglect. Protesters had been demanding justice for Imelda, who had been reportedly raped by her stepfather repeatedly since the age of 12.
The truth is that it's been a very complicated case. Our priority has always been the freedom of Imelda. However, in the end, the court gave us a win. The judge said Imelda was a victim of a retaliated sexual violence, and that also explains why she could not behave differently at the moment of the birth. We are satisfied and think this case will set an important precedent. The judicial authorities are starting to analyze the cases from another perspective and in benefit of women's rights.
And Latin America is one of the most restrictive regions in the world when it comes to abortion rights. Let's find out more.
3 countries in Central America have a complete ban on abortion: Honduras, El Salvador, and Nicaragua, along with Haiti in the Caribbean. The Dominican Republic, Mexico, Panama, Ecuador, Argentina, Chile, and Brazil allow abortion in cases of rape, and so do Colombia and Bolivia, which also permit in the case of incest. Abortion is banned except when the life of the mother is at risk in Mexico, Guatemala, Panama, Chile, Argentina, Paraguay, Brazil, and Venezuela. Some other countries make further exceptions when there is a risk to the woman's health: Costa Rica, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia. Cuba and Uruguay have the most progressive laws in the area, with abortion being legal within certain time limits. Even after this period, abortion is still allowed in certain circumstances.
A court in Colombia has sentenced a man to 20 years in prison for the murder of a transgender woman. A criminal court has ruled that Davidson Steven Erazo Sanchez will be held in a psychiatric hospital for the killing of Angela Ramos Claros. This is the second time in Latin America that the murder of a transgender woman has led to a femicide sentence. The grandniece of late Nobel-winning writer Gabriel Garcia Marquez has been rescued. She was being held captive by a group of paramilitaries for almost 4 months. Melissa Martinez Garcia was kidnapped in late August near the city of Santa Marta. Her captors had demanded a ransom of $5 million for her release. The Colombian armed forces have so far captured 11 people connected to the kidnapping. The Declaration of Peasants' Rights has passed the final stage at the United Nations General Assembly. Under this declaration, peasants now have the right to seek justice against discrimination in relation to food, agriculture, and land ownership. The 17-year-long process was started by the international peasant movement, La Villa Campesina, and was supported by numerous social movements and allied organizations. But only 8 countries voted against the resolution, including the United States, the United Kingdom, and Israel.
The result of the vote is as follows: 121 in favor, 8 votes against, and 54 abstentions. Therefore, the resolution is approved.
We have more stories coming up. We'll be back.
Telesur brings you special interviews with social and political personalities. Monday, from Washington. Tuesday, from Mexico. Wednesday, from Caracas. Thursday, from Quito. Friday, from Havana. Analysis about our continent's reality. Weekdays, only on Telesur. Our actions have an impact on the environment. It's our responsibility to change for the sake of our planet. Let's be part of this transition. Watch, preserve, and protect your Green Zone. Wednesdays, only on Telesur. The ruling world order has always subjugated the masses. But who are the actors behind every move? What are their real interests? We analyze every move on Critical Move. Weekdays, only on Telesur. An occasion to enjoy the cultural diversity that defines our South American essence. Come along to find out the story behind these personalities, traditions, and artistic expressions that unite us as a whole. Real Lives. Friday, only on Telesur.
Welcome back. Workers from a community-based television station in Argentina have been mobilizing after being taken off the air in what is being called an act of censorship. Workers from Barricada TV, a broadcaster with no commercial intent, say their signal has been blocked in violation of the law by the Clarín Group, the largest multimedia company in Argentina. Barricada is demanding to be put back on the air as they say their rights have been violated. Our correspondent in Buenos Aires, Edgardo Esteban, has the details.
Workers from the alternative media and social organizations have come together to protest against Clarín Multimedia Group, the largest mainstream media corporation in Argentina. Clarín have pulled the signal of Barricada TV, an alternative media outlet with no commercial interest. Since the start of President Mauricio Macri's government, the alternative media have been in his crosshairs. His government has amended media law to allow censorship of channels that challenge the mainstream narrative. The government is clamping down on freedom of speech, and only the media that supports the status quo is allowed to continue broadcasting and receive subsidies.
Edgardo Esteban from Argentina. Now to the 53rd meeting of the Southern Common Market Trade Bloc, or Mercosur, that is being held in Montevideo, Uruguay. During this meeting, representatives from Paraguay will reportedly propose that Bolivia be fully integrated into the bloc. Representatives from Bolivia are in attendance at the meeting as the country awaits approval to become a full member. Mercosur was established in 1991 to promote free trade and the movement of goods, people, and currency across its member nations. Currently, only Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, and Uruguay are full members. In Brazil, a new social media app is transforming the work of informal trash collectors. The Cataqui app allows trash collectors to register on their social media platform. Then people in their area use the app to flag a collector to come to their residence or business to pick up trash or recyclables. Collectors are paid by the kilo for recyclable materials.
There are already registered collectors in more than 191 Brazilian cities. It's a network of over 1,000 collectors who are getting calls from people who want to recycle every day.
Before the app, I almost never got calls to pick up recyclables or trash. But since the app, people start calling me to pick up recyclables and rubbish.
Football has become the most played sport in Brazil, and it's also true for indigenous communities. Let's look at the new generation team of indigenous people. They are finding it very difficult to train and accomplish their dreams of being the new wonder kid of the country.
This is the territory of the indigenous Pataxos people in the south of the state of Bahia in Brazil. It's a territory of warriors who as a community have resisted throughout centuries. Here, young people play football for the team called New Generation. The coach is Jose Milton, a Pataxo indigenous who, like his predecessors, fights every day to keep training sessions open.
I have to fight by myself. I don't have sponsors. I don't have any help. It's only me, so what I do is to take some earnings and pay for transport to take the children to play in other places.
Despite all the difficulties they have to train, these children dream of becoming worldwide football stars. Young people, such as Duru or Pitoko, who recently passed the tests of football schools looking for new talent, know what their dreams are and value the opportunity to train.
This is both friendship and happiness. Our coach helps us. He takes us to other places with his money so we can play football.
Our pitch isn't in good condition. I would like to play at some point in a place away from here.
These young athletes are part of the million indigenous people who live in Brazil. In each training session, these children find an alternative way to develop themselves and keep their traditions as a community alive.
I'm 11 years old and I live here in a small village. I would like to have the life of a football player, and I'm a Pataxo indigenous.
My dream is to become a football player to help my family. The most important part of football for indigenous people is being together.
Pataxo indigenous people are recognized as warriors, but also as a happy people who have football as a passion in their lives.
Indigenous people are cheerful and happy with all the barriers they face and the difficulties we have with all the preconceptions that some people have about indigenous people. We are happy. We do not stop fighting. We are warriors. Football brings happiness, so it fits with us perfectly well.
These young indigenous people will have the responsibility of leading their communities in a few years. But for now, they look for union and happiness in football, as well as dreaming of becoming an indigenous idol.
The government of Puerto Rico has announced that 80% of bridges and roads destroyed by Hurricane Irma and Maria have been repaired. Authorities say that most of the repair works are finished despite the financial crisis that the government faces. The estimated cost of the work was over $350 million. Thousands of Cuban worshippers have paid homage to Saint Lazarus at his sanctuary in Havana. The Saint Lazarus pilgrimage is one of the most important religious events on the island. Devotees flock to the shrine and ask the saint to cure relatives. The cult of Saint Lazarus melds Afro-Cuban faiths with Roman Catholic beliefs. Venezuela has been marking the anniversary of the death of South American liberator Simón Bolívar. Speaking at an event with the Bolivarian Armed Forces, President Maduro asked them to protect the country from foreign attacks.
Si algún día se atrevieran,
if one day they dare to touch even a bit of the sacred territory of the homeland, the militia and the Bolivarian armed forces must go out and expel any invading force that intends to touch the sacred ground of the land of Bolívar. The imperialists, the oligarchs, they come from Bogota or come from Brasilia. The oligarchs or traitors who sell their souls for a handful of filthy dollars from Colombia and the Northern Empire. They will not be able to defeat us. Neither imperialists, nor oligarchs, nor traitors will be able to triumph here. Here, the people will rule. Here, the people will triumph with their will, with their love.
We're taking one last break, but stay with us.
Our actions have an impact on the environment. It's our responsibility to change for the sake of our planet. Let's be part of this transition. Watch, preserve, and protect your Earth. Green Zone. Wednesdays, only on Telesur.
The life is full of moments. Moments of fight. Moments of hope. Moments that transcend. Moments that you can live in. Telesur documentaries. Sundays. Only on Telesur.
With developing events being presented through analysis. Our coverage transcends borders. With renowned journalist Walter Martinez.
Salud amigos, tripulantes de nuestra querida, contaminada y única nave espacial.
Dossier. Weekdays. Only on Telesur.
Y ponga usted las cámaras, señor director.
Welcome back. Marking 40 years of historic economic reform, Chinese President Xi Jinping has declared that China will not allow any country to dictate its economic path. The grand gathering celebrating the country's landmark reform was held at the People's Hall in Beijing with hundreds of delegates from across China in attendance. The economic reforms were ratified by the Chinese Communist Party on December 18, 1978.
改革开放
The foreign economic opening up is a great revolution in the history of the Chinese people and our nation's development, which has propelled a quantum leap in the cause of socialism with Chinese characteristics.
Tablet voting machines have been set up in Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo after thousands of voting machines were destroyed in a fire. The opposition is arguing that the tablet-like machines are more prone to vote rigging and fear that results could be compromised due to the country's unreliable electricity. However, the Independent National Electoral Commission insists that the machines will be more efficient in determining the results of the presidential election taking place on December 23rd. The Nigerian army has called for the closure of Amnesty International offices in Nigeria, accusing it of working to destabilize the country. A statement by an army spokesperson said the organization's attempts to destabilize the nation were noted through what he called fabrication of allegations of alleged human rights. Refugees around the world are not only forced to live in camps or shelters, but they often lose everything they own. An artisanal fair in Uganda is trying to reshape the situation of these victims of violence.
Mambi Malalumi escaped war in the Democratic Republic of Congo 10 years ago. Nevertheless, his life in Kampala, the capital of Uganda, is a constant struggle to make ends meet.
As you can see, I'm old. I worked as a tailor, but was making only enough to survive. I would fashion clothes to sell outside the National Theatre.
Things started to change once Malalumi joined a group of older refugees who got together to increase the chances of selling their goods at a refugee market.
I was an artisan back home, and here in Uganda I have taught many refugee children my skills.
Facing prolonged refugee status, humanitarian agencies have started to develop sustainable programs that include vocational training. People are learning things like carpentry or agriculture, while also socializing with people in similar situations.
We organize every year. We get together here so that people may come and buy their wares. This is to help refugees to increase their income, so they may become self-sufficient.
Creating ways for refugees to become self-sufficient is more beneficial over the long term than providing them with free food. It allows them to work with their skills and breaks their reliance on international aid organizations.
On Sunday, thousands of Hungarians took to the streets to protest against Prime Minister Viktor Orbán and a new labor law. This new law allows employers to ask for up to 400 hours of overtime per year. Civil rights organizations have said this new law may destroy the remaining democratic institutions since Viktor Orbán took office in 2010. On Monday, we spoke with Balázs Ceko, an independent journalist from Hungary. He told us about the demand of these protesters.
I would like to highlight the 5 points. So repeal the slave law, that's number 1. Number 2 is less overtime hours for the police. Number 3, independent judiciary. Number 4 is joining the European Public Prosecutor's Office. And number 5 is free media. This scale is very diverse. It goes from the left-wing anarchists over socialists, over social democrats, liberals, conservatives to the right wing. It's a bit bizarre to see all these forces marching together for democracy, but this is the Hungarian reality. And they are united in one position, and the position is to be against FtS, to be against the government. FtS is the government party.
Germany has approved a law to include a third gender option on official documents, a new intersex or diverse gender, and this option will be included on documents such as birth certificates and driving licenses. Until now, the alternative for people who do not consider themselves either male or female was not to fill in the gender entry. The father of a dying boy is begging U.S. authorities for a waiver for the country's travel ban to allow the boy's Yemeni mother to say her final goodbye. 2-year-old Abdullah suffers from a brain disease and has been in the Benioff Children's Hospital for 5 months. He's not expected to survive, and his family is holding off from removing his life support so that his mother can see him one last time. As Abdullah's mother is a Yemeni national, she's not allowed to enter the United States since the Supreme Court upheld the decision to ban people from Muslim-majority countries.
Thank you everyone for being here today. I'm here today because my son Abdullah needs his mother. My wife's calling me every day, wanted to kiss and hold her son. Oh. For the one last time. Time is running out. Please help us get my family together again. As you know, my wife was denied it to enter to the U.S. to see her son. And my son Abdullah is only 2 years old. We celebrate his birthday just 2 days ago. So I am here today for your support and help bring my family together for the one last time. Thank you.
And with that, we come to the end of this news brief, but this and other stories you can find on our website at telesurenglish.net. For our viewers in Africa, we are on StarSat channel 461 in South Africa and 539 in Nigeria, and we're on social media as well. For Telesur English, I'm Carla Gonzalez. Thank you for watching.
After the triumph of the revolution in Cuba, childhood has taken on an unparalleled social space. Documentaries Telesur presents a children's theater company opens a window for the participation of the little ones. La Colmenita, Songs and Dreams. Premiere Sunday, only on Telesur. The ruling world order has always subjugated the masses. But who are the actors behind every move? What are their real interests?